Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today I'm going to take a look at the mutations. There's been a whole bunch of them added. There's 6 in fact brand new mutations. With 1.0 release there were a few bugs. Yeah, I know, I'm not going to try and use that joke in Grounded, that have affected some of the mutations unlocking, and some of them just aren't working correctly. But here's what we know after doing some testing and trying them out so you guys know exactly how to use them. Warning, I'm going to be giving you the idea of bosses because a lot of the mutations unlock by killing the brand new ones that have been added to the game. So if you don't want them kind of spoilers, don't watch the video. You'll get shocking dismissal by killing the assistant manager in the Black Anthill. Fits of anger become fierce retaliation. Blocked attacks convert their energy to static electricity, occasionally unleashing a powerful burst. So you might be thinking it will just do it automatically. When the symbol pops up, that's it, the creatures took some of that maybe shock or lightning damage. Instead though, it's about what you do. So when the actual symbol pops up, you're meant to go ahead and melee a creature. It doesn't seem to work on ranged equipment like staves. But when I switched over to the hammer after extensive testing, you could see here when he's about to hit me and I block it, the symbol pops up, and then when I go ahead and unleash my attack eventually, I do get that little bolt of lightning. Seems to be flat damage as well. I did test to see if you held it to the very end would it give more static charge, but it looks like no, it's just going to give the same. As soon as you see that symbol pop up, go ahead and attack a creature and you should give them some of that static charge. This might work better with a fast moving weapon rather than something slow like a hammer. It seems to work just as well if you're using a shield or not using a shield, but for sure sometimes it went ages without triggering, and then other times I got 2 of them in the space of a few seconds. Here on this ladybird it took nearly a square of health from it using just that attack with the lightning. So yeah, this doesn't trigger on perfect blocks, it instead triggers just with everyday blocks. So pretty much just hold the block button and it will trigger eventually. So use this with anything that gives you extra shielding like the roly-poly armor or defense, and pretty much just any buffs or bonuses that will also apply, and you'll be able to hopefully unleash this a lot more. I gotta say, it's not the best one that I've come across out of the new mutations. It could do with a more visual clue on the actual creature or yourself rather than just the status symbol to know it's building up. And I guess it is a mid-level mini-boss taking on the assistant manager, so it's not something that needs to be superiorly OP, but hoping that it does do more damage maybe against certain types of creatures. Next is corporate kickback. You get this by killing the bad guy or boss inside Moldok Castle. If you like using lifesteal, then this might be a mutation that's good for you, but I would say you still need to combine it with a bunch of other stuff, including the mosquito needle, and maybe the new trinket or charm or card that gives you the actual lifesteal as well, or health regeneration on perfect parry. The description is retaliate against the weak, converting blocked attacks to energy, give attacks massive lifesteal. I think it's a flat lie that it's massive because it really wasn't that big. Certainly not enough to keep me alive there. I feared what I become most, or is it I become what I feared most? I don't want to be someone that just grumbles, and it is obviously 1.0, I'm sure they're going to do lots of balance based on feedback, but at the moment the lifesteal is kind of just weak sauce. Given it's the last mutation that you unlock by defeating the secret boss kind of thing, it really is a bit underwhelming. It only gives a tiny fraction of health. It's also a little bit too random as well. It didn't really trigger that often when I was taking on some of these ticks. How it could be improved? Absolutely guaranteed that it will trigger every 3 blocks or double the amount of health that it actually does regen. You saw there as soon as I did hit, it actually disappeared. Maybe they can make it that it stays for the duration of it. So if you got 2 or 3 hits in, you'd gain health with every hit. Apex Predator could be one of the best mutations in the game, but it's obviously locked behind one of the toughest creatures. You're going to have to defeat the Mantis to unlock it. It gives you 2 distinct bonuses or buffs using either the Club of the Mother Demon or the Scythe of Blossoms. And I know it's not a proper boss, but I figured it is using a mini boss's parts, the Termite King, but it doesn't look like it works with the Termite Axe. So when you're using the Club of the Mother Demon, it's going to do an additional poison damage, which obliterates a lot of enemies. It takes huge chunks of their health even when you're not actually hitting them once you get them first initial stages. Now it doesn't trigger with every attack that you do, but I found it did trigger a lot more than the other mutations that I'm speaking about today. I really like this. It really makes the Club of the Mother Demon an absolutely OP weapon once more, as a lot of people had kind of favoured others like the Mint Mallet or the Mint Mace. For the scythe, it's going to speed up your attack rate, so you'll be able to do even more attacks. Really good maybe for taking on lots of creatures, or yeah, just wading on big ones like this. But I do prefer it on the Club of the Mother Demon in terms of the damage output. So apply the Club of the Mother Demon to a real poison build, and it'd be absolutely amazing. And likewise with this, and maybe chopping, it could be really good for clearing out large amounts of enemies. The Mysterious Stranger is a little bit of a homage to Fallout. It will basically summon the Mance to come and fight by your side. Again, a bit disappointed that it just doesn't do enough damage. This is one of the end game mutations you get, and it barely does anything. You're lucky if it will get 2 attacks in when fighting a creature, and it just doesn't do anything where it should in terms of health or damage to others. So I'm hoping they'll boost or buff that, or make it last a lot longer, at least double the time. Again, it is a random chance of happening as well, not guaranteed. So yeah, I think either that, or maybe even when it's disappearing and it explodes, maybe it could do a huge amount of explosion damage. But absolutely it needs some sort of buff alongside the corporate kickback. Next is the Trapper Peeper. You're meant to basically just peep a bunch of creatures. It looks like it is triggering when you peep a certain amount of gold cards, as there's 3 different levels for it. What it's meant to do is increase damage dealt when you actually get off a critical hit. What I haven't figured out yet, and I'm still looking into it, is how it triggers, because some people are claiming there's all sorts of different things going on. People think it's just gold cards, and judging by the game files, it looks like it is related to gold. So you might have to kill 5 gold creatures first to get the first level. That's because on one of my saves I did have 5 gold cards, and I did have the first level mutation. But on another save I only had 4 gold cards and I didn't have the level 1 mutation for it. So I'm guessing the first level was 5, then the second level is probably going to be like 20, and the third level I don't think is going to be every gold card. I think it's probably something like 50 out of the 59 creatures in the game. According to a lot of comments from you guys, you have peeped every creature in the game and got all the gold, but you still weren't having it trigger. And there have been problems also with Sharpshooter not triggering, and the next mutation, which is also kind of broken or something we just haven't figured out. Whittle Wizard is meant to give you more damage depending on what staff you use. It's meant to trigger when you get either 40 kills, 100 kills or 200 kills using the brand new staves. But it hasn't been triggering. You guys have been reporting saying you've killed absolute hundreds of ants or whatever, and it still hasn't popped up. I figured I tried a bit of testing myself, so I did all sorts of stuff. I created a whole bunch of recipes because it mentions in the description that mastering sufficiently advanced culinary technology, you'll be able to unlock the magic within, so maybe it's eating meals. Some of you guys have said you've eaten over 50 of the same spicy cha-chas. It hasn't unlocked that way. I figured maybe it would only unlock once you've killed the Termite King, because that's where you get it from. You have to go and get the Termite Woodpile chip. But even after doing all of that and then taking on lots of creatures, it wasn't triggering. I also thought maybe you've got to kill creatures with their weakness. So fire ants, they're weak against fresh, so maybe you've got to kill 40 of them with the opposite. But no, so it does look like it is just bog standard, kill 40 creatures with any kind of stave and you will unlock the first perk of it. Minty attacks, fresh attacks are going to have a chance to slow targets more, the sour attacks are going to have a chance to stun creatures more, and the spicy will have a chance to burn creatures more. And again, I'm presuming that the first level will give you a buff to all 3 of them, the second level will increase that buff, and then the third level will give you even more. Given that so many of the other mutations are kind of bugged or just not working correctly, some of you guys reporting that Mithridism keeps resetting or it keeps popping up, I'm putting this down to an error with the 1.0 launch. I'm sure it will be resolved, as well I don't want to go too hard on it, and at least you guys know what to expect now when it comes to it working in the future. There we go, that's all of the brand new mutations in the game. If you're a fairly new player to Grounded, don't worry, I will be going over every mutation and how to get it the quickest and best ways in the future. But for now, for older players, hope this has helped. Leave a like if it has, and I'll see you ratbags for more guides soon.